Atapu, assalamu alaikum, namaste, Nefer. This is Qesankh Keperu with another exciting video for you. In this video, we're going to deal with the secret to deep range magic. But before I go into that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. And also, if you're looking to learn more about my become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. You can do so by subscribing on Patreon. You can cancel at any time. There is no obligation. You'll get exclusive access to instructional videos on the esoteric, videos that will teach you how to contact the ancestors, summon spirits, work with oracles, work with self-hypnosis, and so much more. Also, we do have free ebooks for you. You can scroll down below, click on an ebook, download it, and start reading it today. Last but not least, share this video with your family and friends so we can get this revolution started. Haroon Nefer, how's it going? All right. I want to talk about a really good subject here and something that we need to really be aware of. Many of us, we don't cover our culture. We don't cover our magic enough. We don't see the value in it because we're living in this society that doesn't teach us about who we truly are and what our abilities are. And because of that, we miss out on a lot of things because we're always looking for an outside means or measure to save us or to get us out of our present condition. And now you should understand that when we look back into antiquity, some of the greatest magicians were the African shaman, the ancient Kemetic priests, the ancient Chinese sages, and many, many more. And what they did was they tried to leave a legacy for us so we can understand about the universe and about ourselves and our connection to the universe. But that was severed and cut off when we had the rise of the ruling elite, the oligarchy that took control of the planet and then made sure that we would never come to understand the higher dimensions of thought and higher dimensions of mind. So back then there were different types of magic. We can say there was chaos magic. You know, we can look at things like Aleister Crowley, who was experimenting with creating his own Thelma magic, you know, even spelling the word magic differently to separate itself. So even Christianity had its roots in things like the Coptic Church and actually magic. It is a plagiarized version of the Asar Set religion, which is based on magical principles, the understanding of who you are, your existence, and all that. But again, in order for those individuals to co-opt this world, take control of it, they had to eliminate the idea of magic. They had to eliminate the idea of the dual principle of life, as above, so below, male, female, black, white, hot, cold. They had to look at those principles instead of complementary principles, but dualistic, antagonistic principles. And that created a lot of problems in the world where you can see this poverty, war, ministers, pastors who are basically manipulating their congregation for money. So I want you to first understand this, that the reality that you experience is a hypnotic tunnel. You're in a hypnosis state. And this hypnosis state is what our ancestors call a trance state. And this trance state, based upon what's given to you in post-hypnotic suggestions, creates the reality that you experience. And because this is fed to you through post-hypnotic suggestions, through the dominant society, through social engineering, you don't have to abide by what you're experiencing. See, you're a consciousness, the all-seeing eye, having an experience, but you get yourself all messed up and wrapped up in believing that you are the thing itself. You are not the physical body. You are not the material thing. You are the observer experiencing one of an infinite number of realities. See, as consciousness, you're just going through and observing. and you can change the channel to a different parallel reality or a different consciousness, one that aligns with what you wish in life. But because the frequency that they're putting out there is very Saturnian or earth-based, you are trapped in five sensory experience. So you think five sensory experience is the end all and be all of existence. It is not. Consciousness has no consciousness has the principle of non-locality. It is devoid of time and space. It means that as you sit here and we have this discussion, you are everywhere in the universe. Your focus, your haru, is on this particular experience, but we are everywhere and at the same place, no one place or one thing. That is who you are. That is the truth of your existence. You are immaterial. You cannot be defined. You have always been. You had no beginning and you'll have no end. That is a truth, a fundamental truth. Now, the ruling elite, the oligarchy, know of the power to manipulate your psyche to get you to manifest a reality that's going to benefit them. And they place you in this hypnotic tunnel, which is predicated upon belief system, is based upon the deep range magic, which I'll talk a little bit about, and excitement. And then lastly, the experience of living it. So let me break this down. When you're in a hypnotic state or a trance state or a state of total excitement, you lose all sense of time and space. You understand? You lose that. This is what I call as the deep range, meaning you go so deep into a trance hypnotic state that you lose awareness of self. Okay? And if you can go deep enough to rewrite the programming or the belief system that's within you, then you're on your way to creating the reality that you want. But then it has to be followed up by excitement. It has to be something that's you're very, very excited about and that you want. And then comes the next step, which is just living that out without necessarily expecting results. Just be in the moment. We call this the flow state. Be in the moment. Have no expectations. See, when we look at, I was watching one of my directors that I really love, James Cameron, who got into this vehicle to go deep, deep, deep below into the sea, deep range stuff, and he just started looking at these different animals and sea creatures that man has never seen before, and he was like one of the first ones to go this deep and discover these things in the pitch blackness of the sea. You must understand that that's how our ancestors equated the subconscious mind with the pitch blackness of water. That in order to make a change in who you are in the programming, you have to go deep within your psyche, because the ruling elite has programmed you for a number of years. And that program has gone very, very deep, symbolized by the 48 hexagram in the I-ching, the well. It goes deep within your psyche, so deep you don't even know it's there, and the programming now is on autopilot, meaning now that you're just manifesting things that you don't want. You're manifesting the things that they have programmed you with, you know? But you then, because you are regurgitating this information, you think it's yours. You own these ideas. Well, I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. I'm black. I'm white. You think that these are realities, but they're not realities. They are part of who you are, which is a reality generating machine. See, when I'm in the right state of consciousness, which is trance state, theta, delta, what have you, I'm open to suggestion. And that suggestion is not just open to reprogramming my thought process, but if I go deep enough, I can rewire the template reality. That means the reality that I'm experiencing now will change if I go deep enough into my subconscious mind and feed myself a different set of programs. If I tell myself right now in this conscious state, this waking state, this beta state, Qesankh, you're lucky. Qesankh, everywhere you go, luck finds you. Qesankh, you will hit the lottery because you're so lucky. Men and women will adorn you, respect you. Now, if I tell myself that in this state, it's meaningless. It has no, as we used to say, teeth. There's nothing that's going to empower it and make it work. But if I go deep into the alpha or the theta state of the subconscious mind, and then someone feeds me these post-hypnotic suggestions, is Qesankh, you're lucky. Everything you touch turns to gold. You can do no wrong. Because it goes deep within the recesses of the subconscious mind into the deep range, it then sticks, becomes hardwired, and becomes a default programming. It becomes part of the legacy programming. And I start to manifest it on autopilot. So I walk around and I find $500 here, get a tax return that I didn't know it was coming to me. A beautiful woman tells me how pretty I am. I'm like, thank you so much. You're pretty too. Go to the grocery store. I'm the 99th shopper. I get free groceries. This is not me praying to God and getting these things. These things are directly in relation to me going into the deep range state of the subconscious mind, to the delta, the theta state, reprogramming what the Illuminati or the ruling elite has programmed into me, which is death, destruction, Satanism, and reprogramming that so that my reality conforms to my existence as God, God-man. You understand? The experience that you're having is in direct proportion to what is going on in the deep range, the subconscious mind. What has been placed there? What has been placed there? Has positive affirmations been placed there that empower you as a divine spiritual being who has power? I was sleeping and woke up 3 a.m. and I woke up and I was like, the greatest thing in my life has to be the pursuit of spiritual power. It has to be the pursuit of spiritual power, nothing else. And this is what I was just saying over and over and over again. It has to be the pursuit of spiritual power. That is the one thing in my life that takes paramount importance. And the reason why I was so fanatical and I woke up 3 a.m. saying that, because it was the truth. That was the truth. I know that I could work hard to become a famous filmmaker. I could work hard to train my students to be good project managers in my 6-figure PM program. Or I could work the magic. I could work the magic. And I can say, well, my students are going to do well. They're going to get jobs. You know what I mean? That the things that I want in my life will come to me through my magical abilities, not necessarily through me trying to fight racism and sexism in this world and economic inequality. Because you can't beat some of these things on a physical level. But when you have magic, and it's knowledge, it's not just magic, it's just praying affirmation or saying some mantras. No, magic has layers to it. And deep range magic is the most powerful because you're going deep, deep, deep. And you're ferreting out the negativity and the bad programming. Society is not out for your good. I was talking with a yogi, and I was saying that, we live in a very evil world. The yogi goes, no, my friend, we are living in a very, very, very positive world. It's your perspective and how you go through life that changes the nature of the reality that you experience. We're living in a positive world. You can experience inner peace and positivity. And I said, yes, but that is an objective. That is one. I said, you must understand that there is the subjective and the objective. Now, I'm speaking about an objective reality. And that objective reality is that you're living in a world that is ruled by the 1% who has eliminated the idea of your power and who you truly are. And because they have eliminated that, and because that you're not operating based on that, then you are living in an evil world. You see, we're operating on version 1.1, and the ruling elite is operating on version 3.1. Your magical abilities, your knowledge of self has been eradicated from your mind to be a subservient to the dominant evil culture. Now, on the subjective level, yes, subjectively, I do have the ability to turn inward and be at peace. Amen. And experience nirvana or zazen. This is what we call as ma'ati, the two truths. The absolute interacting with the relative. But don't ever think for a moment that you can walk through this world and just say, I'm at peace, there's happiness and all that. No, the happiness from within, from the state of being of peace. But you also recognize the fact that you have society your destruction. And they have already, in one level, one phase 1 and phase 2, been victorious, because phase 1 and phase 2 was about ridding yourself of a knowledge of you being God man, God woman. Let me say it again. They rid the planet of the knowledge of who we are, God men and God women. To the point of you going to a church and you're bowing and you're praying to some ignorant fool of a minister who's going to reinforce the notion that you're human, you have no abilities. You are a very, very powerful being. And that is the greatest secret on this planet. Not the secret of Area 51, of UFOs, of black holes in outer space and dimensions. No, the secret, the real secret is that you are God and you have extraordinary abilities if you know how to tune into them. But you keep asking the outside world to change. You keep asking the outside world to treat you fair. It's never going to do that. Because the collective consensus agreement is one that doesn't favor you as God. Let me say it again. The collective consensus agreement does not favor you as a God. What is the collective consensus agreement? That is the idea from the Bible of two or more agree, so shall it be. But it's the 100 monkey principle that whenever the masses of us agree upon something, it becomes a reality. The ruling elite has got it so that the masses of us believe that we're human and we don't have any powers, so that indirectly impacts you. It warps your sense of thinking. Oh, well, young people are getting shot by police. We must put new legislation in place. No. You must enact your God power so you can bring the police force to justice through magical means. When Haru fought Set, it was always a stalemate. He was fighting. It wasn't until he went to Tahuti, God of wisdom. And Tahuti says, you keep fighting this man on his same level. You keep fighting Set on his same level. Open your third eye. Open your third eye, Haru. Horus. I will show you how to do that so you can beat him. What is the third eye? Whole brain thinking, intuitive thinking, connection to the Akashic records, to bring down wisdom. Lady Marie, God doesn't get angry. All right? God doesn't get angry. There is an aspect of your being, which is Haruka Huti, which is warrior, that invokes justice, but never out of anger. When you accept beliefs and notions like I can be angry, I like this, I like that, then that is the sin. Because who you are is Amen, no thing. You are no thing. You are consciousness observing your manifestations. You're just observing it. And then you forget and you get caught up, and then you get caught and think, oh, I thought for a second I was the hero of the movie. I was Luke Skywalker. I was Black Widow. No, you were never those characters. You were just an observer, but you got caught up and you started to believe you were Black Widow. But you are not. Who are you? You are the writer, the architect. You are God. Write the new story. Write the new story by going into the deep range and giving yourself better ideas, better programming. I say to myself when I wake up, what day will I create for myself? And usually it starts the night prior, because I'll do a deep meditation for 30 minutes because I know I want my day to go a certain way. And I've been doing this for over 20 years. So I know if I don't meditate the day prior, things will just fall apart that day because I didn't create my reality. You see, I create my reality by going deep, deep into meditation until I get to the deep range. And then while in the deep range, I say, okay, well, tomorrow I want to come into some money. Tomorrow I want to have a good relationship with the women in my life. Tomorrow I want to hear good news from my doctor. And all that comes to fruition, just like that. But it may take a couple of years for you to buy into the fact that you're God. That's the only trick, because we've been so conditioned to believe we're human. I said, no, I'm not human. You're God. You're God. And we have been so destroyed by this culture. You know, I see certain parents be beating their children. And I'm like, don't you know who they are? They're ancestors. They're gods. And you're beating them? You're traumatizing them? They have the capacity to understand what you say if you reason and rationalize with them. They have chosen to come through your lineage, your womb, and you're beating them, putting them through trauma. Because you don't know how to be at peace. You don't know how to control your anger. You don't know how to control your emotions. You're a wreck. It's your fault, not the child's fault. When I was in the hospital, the doctors were giving me some shots, right? They were just trying to take some blood. And there's a child. I mean, this kid was yelling like crazy. I can't feel my arm. I can't feel my arm. You're killing me. And this was a little kid. And he was at the top of his lungs. So I asked the nurse, I said, you know, well, what are they doing to them? the kid, and they said the same thing to you. We're just getting a blood sample. I was like, really? And as I sat there, and you know how, when a child is complaining and going on and on and on, it can really annoy you because they're programmed. They have it wired within their DNA that their voice, their vocal tonality reaches a certain pitch that can aggravate you. And it does that especially for mothers, so mothers can be attentive to the child's needs, right? So that child was driving me absolutely crazy. I mean, he was like screaming like he was dying. And I was saying to myself, man, he gets me to the point where I want to just, if I was his father, I would want to take off my belt and say, listen, you are a man. You don't be crying and screaming like that in front of this whole hospital for people to hear you. And if you don't stop with this yelling, embarrassing me, acting like a little bitch, I'm going to whip your ass with this belt. But obviously that's not what I would do or would say, because I'm going to tell you this. That child got that way for a reason. That child got soft like that from his parents. So if the child is annoying you and upsetting you and embarrassing you, then you did something wrong in raising that child to be weak, to be afraid, to be timid. Child doesn't know any better. Child's terrified. It's just, I'm in a hospital. I don't know what a hospital does. I'm dying. He's probably been watching movies, and he's all upset. But ignorant parents would be like, you're embarrassing me. So I'm going to whip your ass until you're strong or you get straight. No, look at how you brought that child up. Did you make him weak? Did you make him a soy boy? Or did you train him and say, hey, son, I understand you're afraid. It's okay. I'm here with you. I won't take you anywhere or put you in harm's way. So there's no need for you to be worried. Look, I'm going to take the shot with you and we'll do it together. You understand what I'm saying? Because you must respect him. He is an ancestor. But our emotions and our perspectives are so left brain, we don't see the whole circumference. We don't see the bigger picture. Oh, my husband's not working out. We can't come to an agreement. Meditate and see yourself manifesting a better mate. It's so simple as that. Go to the deep range. If you have a mate that's acting out of pocket, that's because there's a belief system that you've accepted within the deep range that has now manifested a different personality within your mate. Don't you understand that? You don't be, let me explain something. Right? This gentleman said something that was greatly disrespectful to me as a Kemetic priest and just as a human being in general, right? So what did I do to this gentleman? I said, I wrote him a note. I said, sorry, our business arrangement is over. Gave him the letter. He wrote back saying, why can't we continue the business? Why can't we keep working? I went to the oracles. Oracle said, nope, sever it. There's no discussion. There's no argument. There's a woman, hot Latina girl. Her and I get into arguments all the time. And then I go to Oracle. Oracle said, Qesankh, just meditate. Just meditate on seeing you and her coming into harmony. And I was like, all right, but I don't know about these Latina girls. They drive me crazy now, all right? So I meditate. I meditate for a week. And all of a sudden, we're close. We're talking. We're communicating. She was literally texting me, apologizing me. And I was confirmed not to like respond to her text. It was like 3 weeks went by. She was still texting me. I was like, I'm not gonna respond, but I'm like, wait a minute, I did meditate, And yeah, she seems to be apologetic. So let me just open communication. That's how it works. That's how it works. I don't have to go out there and curse her out and say, I'm right, you're wrong. I only just meditate and say, I want to see us coming together harmoniously. Work that Heteru Hathor blood magic. But the problem with people, you jump into a relationship that you shouldn't be in the first place. And you jump into a relationship with a person you know is not good, not a good person. Instead of you going to the oracle first. And then when you're in the relationship, you accept them and their faults. You should not do that. You should meditate and help them transcend the errors of their ways through higher spiritual thought. I told a woman the other day that she was involved with this guy who's an alcoholic. And I said, listen, that's really a reflection on you. And you're never going to reach a high spiritual level for yourself being with a guy who's an abusive alcoholic. It's not going to happen. So this is about you thinking about you. Be damned what he's doing now. Why do you like alcoholics? Why do you like abusive alcoholics? Do you need to think about that now? Think about that. Because we're talking about, are you serious about becoming a good human being? If that's what you want to call it. Are you serious about being a spiritual person? Then there's certain lines of demarcation in your life that you have to set. One of them is I don't date alcoholics. I don't date cokeheads. I don't date women who smoke weed. You know what I mean? I have standards because that's a reflection on me. It's a mirror. Because somebody eventually asked me, well, why do you like women that smoke weed? Why do you like women who are obese? Why do you like women who are loudmouth? These things are within you, the deep range, and they're going to manifest. And they're going to keep, and the reason why we don't see the one-to-one correlation, because it doesn't come in the form of a Cartesian logic. Cartesian logic is apples to apples, oranges to oranges. But in the spiritual realm, when you're dealing with different forms of magic, things aren't always what they seem. Things don't always match up one to one. And you'll not see it coming. Like, give you an example. A perfect example of this, right? I get sick. My air conditioner, my central air breaks down. I know that there is that connection, that psychic connection between the two of us. Because I know that every time I feel ill, something breaks down in my apartment. Oh, the last time I got sick, my dishwasher broke down. The time before that, my ice machine broke down. And it was interesting because I had my washer and dryer repair guy come over, and he was talking metaphysics. He was like, yeah, shoot. He says, you can watch TV and your energy will mess up the TV. He says, if you get in a bad mood, it'll shut your washing machine down. And I was like, so that is true. Oh, okay, that is true. Because the energy vibration permeates everything and creates the reality that you experienced before you. And the way I check the reality is I go to the oracles. Excuse me there. Excuse me. I go to the oracles, and the oracle will tell me if I'm on track. The oracle will say, yes, the magical work that you've been doing, all the meditations are going to come to fruition next month, and stay on track. I got the star card, or I got, like a Ma'adatep, and it's telling me that, oh, the meditations I've been doing are working. JB, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to Exercise your left brain. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with that. I just want to know from your perspective, like, why would you want to do that? Because we're living in a left brain society and we're over dependence on the left brain. So can you give me more information on that? And so, listen, this is what I want to tell you, right? You can go your entire life and continue the way you've been living based on sensory input, five senses. Or you can open up to a new world and start to understand that this is half of a whole. That you have a whole world to discover, which is the deep range or the deep recesses of your subconscious mind that will afford you the opportunity to be God. Or continue living the way that the society has constricted you, oppressed you, limited you. There are things I just don't take part in. You know what I mean? When we talk about like political change, I don't get involved in political change. My political change is shifting to a different parallel reality where there's a candidate that I like. My political change is shifting to a different reality where I'm the one that's making money. Now, let me go back and say this again so we are very clear. There is the subjective and there's the objective. You have to deal with an objective reality, which is formed by the mass consensus agreement, the collective agreement. But you still have control within that through the subjective realm, meaning that we call in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, the meta frame. What is the meta frame? The meta frame is the ultimate perspective that you have on the world. And if your meta frame is strong, then this reality conforms to your wishes. If your meta frame is weak, others whose meta frames are strong will dominate you and you'll succumb to their reality. Do you understand? So I want you to understand that the meta frame is the most important thing you can carry with you. And every day I remind myself about this, even after 20 years of study, that I am the cause of things in the world, not the effect. That if I want it, I will it with my magic and it comes to fruition. Do you understand that? Just that notion alone, that thought process alone, that I am the cause, not the effect. If I want it, I will it. And through but the might of my magic shall it be, it shall manifest, so mote it be. Because I have accepted a magical life, not a material life, where I'm hoping and saying that, oh man, I wish this would work out. Let's just keep our fingers crossed. And no, there's none of that. There's none of that. I'm not keeping my fingers crossed from anything. I'm saying I am God. And in the deep range of my psyche, I can go in there and make a wish. And the genie that is within me, Oser, will grant that wish within time and space. I have to give it time and space. But that time and space is predicated upon my belief in myself as God. Meaning that if I accept the notion, the very fact that I am God, then instantaneously what I want can come to manifestation. But if I'm on the fence, I'm here and there, well, yes, sometimes I'm God today, tomorrow I'll be human, the next day I'll be Sahu. No, you've got to be God 24/7 for your power to be activated. You can't be, as my teacher used to say, Qesankh, you can't be half a gangster. You're either all in or you're all out. Do you understand? This is not for the faint of heart. Yeah, I get tired sometimes when I lie down. I want to fall right asleep. But then I get worried about the day I'll have the next day if I don't meditate on what I want. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let me meditate. Let me meditate before I fall asleep. Because there are certain things I want. You know what I mean? It's just like a weightlifter, somebody who's getting his body toned to look like mine. They know that if they don't go to the gym and keep that going on, they're going to lose all that muscle to turn to fat. So they get worried, say, get their ass to the gym. So I know as a magician, a priest, that if I don't meditate, things will start to fall apart. And this beautiful world that I created for myself will start to go backwards. You know what I mean? And I don't want that. I want to keep going forward. I want to keep learning more about magic. And when you go into the deep range of magic, you get educated on higher magical principles by your own indwelling intelligence. You start to educate yourself. You start to discover things. Spirits start to come to you and talk to you. Told you how my doctor said that he didn't agree with something that my doctor had prescribed. And I said, well, why don't you agree with what he prescribed? He says, well, because if you keep taking that, you're going to hear voices and see things. I said, dude, I'm a magician. I always hear voices and see things. Like, that ship is sailed, man. It's not going to do any see things. All the time, I'm seeing things. When am I not seeing things? You know, voices. I be having conversation with the voices. Like, I'll be like, look, excuse me, I heard you say, could you repeat that? Because I didn't quite get that. You know what I mean? Can you say it again? You know? So when you live that type of magical life, you become adapt to it. You understand that it's part of reality. You don't fear it. You know? But the wonderful thing is when you start to see the fruits of your labor, you start to see it come to manifestation, you realize the power that you have. You realize that you've been lied to all your life. You've been lied to all your life. If you guys can get the likes up on here, that'd be great. Come on, hit that like button. Come on, let's get the likes up. Please. And don't forget to donate to the channel. We're dropping science. We're dropping science. All right. So you have those two paths that you can take. The path of glory or the path of just being a common person, human being, whatever you want to call it. Strive to be something greater. You know? What's that saying? Shoot for the moon. If you miss, at least you'll be amongst the stars. This is Qesankh Keperu, son of Ma and Tuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heather Rue. Till my next video, I'm in Ra.